Hey guys, it's your girl Tiffany Matthews, Estone Realtor here in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I hope that everyone is doing well today. Well, you might be wondering, what is the topic today? And let's get right into that so we can learn what we're talking about today. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the common mistakes that people make when they are looking to purchase a home for the first time and maybe even sometimes for the second time. We all make mistakes, right? It's normal. And sometimes we let our emotions get in the way, especially when we're thinking about purchasing something that we've been dreaming about for quite a while. Sometimes you may be given the phrase that you've got the fever, car fever, house fever, maybe even a bag fever if you're a lady who likes to shop for particular purses. But anyway, today we're going to talk about house fever and how to just avoid common mistakes that people make when they're looking to buy their first home. So number one, the first mistake that most people tend to make is they start house shopping before they've actually sat down with a professional mortgage lender or their banker to find out how much house can they actually afford. I see this all the time. I will, partner with different agencies who send me leads for clients who are looking to purchase a home. And one of my first questions, once we actually get down and do a consultation, is, are you already pre-approved to purchase a house? Do you have a lender? And most people will say, no, I just wanted to start looking and see what was out there, what I like and how much it is. And, but no, I have not been pre-approved. Guys, please don't make this mistake. You don't want to waste valuable time of yours or your realtor. And most times your realtor's not going to let you waste their time. They're going to make sure that you actually get a pre-approval before they start taking you out to see homes. If you really think about it, what's the point in seeing a home if you don't know if you can actually afford the home? I mean, it's just common sense, right? So that's number one. Get with a lender, a mortgage lender in particular, who can help you decipher how much buying power you actually have to purchase your home. Let's go to number two. But let me get a sip of my coffee first. I am a coffee person. I don't know if you guys are, but I love my morning coffee. I actually had to change from caffeinated to decaffeinated because I was getting a lot of reflux. And lo and behold, caffeine causes your stomach, your gastric, intestinal area to act up for people who have reflux. Obviously, not everybody, but it can cause more reflux and aggravation to your gastric system. So thank God they made decaf. That's all I can say. That might be too much information that you guys probably did not want to know. But let's move on. So the next thing is I want to talk to you about is most people also, when they're looking to purchase a home, they don't consider all the expenses and the costs that go along with owning a home. For instance, most people are just thinking, okay, this is my mortgage and I can afford this monthly payment. They're not taking into consideration homeowners insurance, HOA fees, or condo fees, if you have those in the particular area that you live in. They're not considering property taxes. So a lot of mortgage lenders, the good ones, will have this conversation with their clients up front and say, I've calculated out what your monthly payment will be. These are the things that are included in this monthly payment. So your, obviously your principal and interest on the actual loan, but hopefully you have an escrow with your mortgage loan product. And your escrow typically would include your homeowner's insurance, and it would also include your property taxes. Most lenders do not include the HOA fees in that. So that is something that you would be responsible for. But it's best that you know this information yourself up front so that you can be thinking about all the other expenses that go along with it, even if your lender does not have that discussion with you. So don't make that mistake. Do your homework, find out what all the fees are that you're going to have to incur. And not only that, just think about maintenance. If you're living in a place that the HOA or the condo fee covers the maintenance on the exterior of the property, like your lawn care, maybe if you live in a place where you're going to have to do shoveling to shovel out the snow from your driveway, all these things can be additional expenses to you if it's not included in your HOA or condo association. So for all those people who are living or considering living in a single family dwelling, like in a neighborhood, sometimes you have HOA fees, sometimes you don't. But typically, those HOA fees are not going to include expenses that you would have to incur yourself for maintenance on your house. So think about those things and make sure that you are budgeted correctly so that when the time comes, you're not house poor. So let's get to the next one, which is overextending yourself to create what I just mentioned, which is being house poor. So a lot of people make this mistake. I know you want what you want. You want the house to look exactly the way you want because at that moment in time, you're not thinking, this is just my first stop. Or I can add on to get all the additional things that I want done to the house later rather than now. We want what we want when we want it. And I raise my hand because I'm that way as well. But we don't want to be house poor. So we don't need to overextend ourselves when we know we really shouldn't. Because life, like the kids say, life be lifing. And, these unexpected expenses are going to pop up. So we want to make sure that we don't overextend ourselves when purchasing a house. So let's give you a really good example. Let's just say you buy your house, you're within that great debt to income ratio marker, no more than 36%. However, you go out and you furnish the whole house with brand new furniture, top tier. You also go out and purchase a brand new car. Again, you got to have everything just right. And then on top of that, you overextend yourself with a lot of credit card debt. So now you're at the point where you are robbing Peter to pay Paul. And when an unexpected maintenance issue happens with the house, guess what? You can't afford it. Or you have to take out even more credit card debt just to be able to pay for it. And the old saying, it is easy to get in it, but it's hard to get yourself back out of it. So that same scenario applies. So think about it before you jump in with all 10 toes and make sure that you actually slow down, take a deep breath, and just think, should I purchase all of this right now? Is this going to make me house poor? And then make your decision. All right, let's move on. Trust me, I am not just preaching to the choir. I have actually done these things myself, which is why I can talk and speak on it. And I want to share with you guys so that you don't do the same things that I have done, because it does set you back. I mean, time is something that we just don't have an infinite number of, and nobody knows when their last day is. So we have to make the best of the time that we do have and use it wisely. All right, so the next thing is, when you're going through the process of actually purchasing your home, I always tell my clients, make sure you get a home inspection. Well, I will tell you, during that whole COVID scene, when everyone was going crazy and they were buying houses like they were buying candy, and they were just selling like hotcakes. Well, a lot of people were doing some really unthoughtful things so that they could ensure their offer was accepted. Because, mind you, everybody was buying. There was a lot of competition. So people were doing what they thought was necessary to get their bid accepted. One of those things was skipping the home inspection, which I never recommend. You want to get a home inspection on your house. At minimum, just the basic structural inspection and mechanical inspection on your home. Worst thing is that you can get in your house and you do not get an inspection done, and you find out that you've got termites, which is very expensive, or can be very expensive to get repaired, especially if you have a lot of damage already to the structure of your home. Another thing about making sure that you get an inspection is that you may get in there and, a couple week or two goes by, you're using your plumbing, everything is going well. And then all of a sudden you start getting the toilet to back up. And you get a plumber out there, and lo and behold, you've got a bigger issue than you realized you had. Now, with something like that, I will tell you, a home inspection may not find that issue out if it's really a large issue, because we did have this happen to us. We got an inspection. Everything checked out fine with the plumbing, but lo and behold, after using the plumbing consistently every day for a couple of weeks, that's your shower, your toilet, your washing machine, all the things, we ended up getting a backup in our toilet, had the plumber come out, fixed it, we thought, had the issue happen again. Plumber came out the second time saying something's not right. Come to find out, we had a break, or a big hole in our main water line, which would have cost us over $10,000 had we had to pay for that ourselves out of pocket. Luckily, we were able to trace it back to something that the previous owner had done with the rehab of the property, and they had to actually fix that themselves. So it was no money out of my pocket. But you can imagine, had I not done my due diligence and at least had the initial home inspection, I may not have found out some of the previous things that they had actually done work on the home. So always get a home inspection. It's not that expensive, and it's going to save you a lot of money down the road. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about that you should avoid is not researching the neighborhood. How many people just like a house? They look at the neighborhood during the daytime and they think, yeah, this is a great little neighborhood. I like it. Guys, always research your neighborhood. Now, your realtor is not going to be able to tell you negatives about your neighborhood. Okay. We, from an ethical standpoint, cannot steer our clients one way or the other. So don't be suspicious of your realtor if they don't tell you all the things that you're looking for. They more than likely are going to give you website access that you can go to check out these things on your own. And I highly advise that you do that. You do your due diligence, your research, and check out the neighborhood. Drive by at 3 or 4 different times of the day and evening to see what type of activity is going on in the neighborhood. Check with the HOA community. Ask them, do they do different things in the community? What type of activities or programs do they put on? You may also just, hey, talk to some of the neighbors if you see them out in the community. Hey, I'm thinking about buying this house. Can you tell me anything about it? Blase, blase. You are allowed to do that as a potential buyer. And again, just do your homework by going online. You can Google the house. It's going to tell you some nuggets about the house, and it may lead you down a little rabbit hole or trail that can give you even more additional information about the house. So always do your homework, because you are making a big investment in something, and you're going to be living here for a couple of years. You want to be in an area that is pleasant to you and something that you are comfortable with. Even if you're one of those people that say, I don't care about the community. I don't want to talk to my neighbors. I don't want to have relationships like that. I'm just going to be here in and out because I travel. It doesn't really matter to me. No, it is going to matter. And I just advise you to do your homework, because you never know what could go on in your neighborhood. And if your property is there, you want to make sure that your property and your investment is in a safe, protected area. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm moving on. All right, so another thing is, and your lender's going to tell you this one, don't make any major financial changes before you purchase a house. Your lender is going to tell you, don't buy any major big purchases before you get through with this loan, because it could change your debt to income ratio, which then could change the amount of house you can afford, or if you can even afford a house at all. So do not buy any major price point items right before you purchase a house, or do any major financial changes. Always talk with your lender to see if that is okay before you do it, because you don't want anything to hinder you getting to that closing table and signing on the dotted line to actually get your house. All right. Now, the other thing is, and I should have brought this up when I talked about finding a lender, but nonetheless, we're here now. The other thing, hold on, let me take a sip. I've been talking a lot, so my throat was a little parched. So another thing that you're going to want to do right when you're at that process of getting with different lenders, you want to interview several lenders, and you want to find out who has the best interest rate, what type of fees are each of them charging. You want to see who you have a better working relationship with, just so far as like who you click with, who seems the most helpful, who has the best customer service, who is responsive to you. All these things you want to do your due diligence and interview, I say at least 3 lenders, so that you can compare apples to apples to see which one works best for you and which one has the better options. And that's going to save you some money down the line. So again, I should have mentioned this like number 2 after I mentioned getting that pre-approval. This is a top tier one, because it is going to affect how you are paying on your mortgage for the life of the mortgage, unless you get a refinance and go with someone totally different. You can do that, but a lot of people don't like to refinance because it's almost like starting over on your mortgage payments. And when I say starting over, we all know that when you first start making mortgage payments, you're paying primarily interest for a good portion of the years or the life of the loan before you actually start hitting where you're paying more principal than interest. So anytime you start over, keep in mind that you're going to be paying mostly interest and not really on principal. But again, that's just something to think about. Off topic, by the way, too. All right, so we just said understanding your mortgage options. So that was number 7. Number 8 is a lot of people ignore the resale value of their potential property. A lot of people don't even think about, or I don't get the question very often, hey, tell me the homes in the neighborhood, has the property value gone up, or has it stayed the same, or has it dropped? I never get that question from a client. They just see a house that they like, and it's like, oh, I like this house. The price is within my range, and I like it. I like the neighborhood. I want to move in. But always think about the potential resale value of the home. And if your realtor is doing an excellent job, they're going to talk to you about these things ahead of time anyway. They're going to say, hey, these are the comps. And what I'm noticing from the comps is that the property value on these particular homes has gone up each year by such and such percentage. That is something that is very valuable for you to know, because you don't want to move in a neighborhood where you could potentially be upside down on your mortgage. Now, granted, again, life be life in, the economy be economy in. Is that a word? It's not, but you get the gist. And sometimes, things are out of our control, and, you may be in a situation where the housing market, I don't want to say crashes, but the housing market declines. That's out of your control. But what is in your control is knowing how, from a historical standpoint, the property value has gone up in the particular neighborhood that you're looking to move into. So if you decide to sell your house in a year, if you decide to sell it 5 years down the line, you can look at the historical trajectory of how much the property value has increased or decreased or stayed stagnant. Keep that in mind, because you do want to purchase something that is adding value and is an asset. And most times I'll say in the housing market, most things do increase in value rather than decrease in value, like a car, depreciates. Houses typically don't depreciate unless something is going on, as I mentioned earlier, that's outside of your control within the economy. All right, number 9. We're moving on along. I think I got one more to tell you guys after number 9. I always like to try to do 10 points or 10 facts. So number 9 is something we all do, especially as women. Sometimes you men do it, but most of my experience has been with women letting their emotions get them caught up. And I know I'm an emotional shopper. If I see something and I'm just in love with it today, I want it. And if I've got it in my mind that that's what I have to have, of course, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get it. But we shouldn't do that. We really should not do that. We should take our time, really think about it, write down pros and cons before we just make a decision off of our emotional scale, right? So don't be like me. Take your time, jot down the pros and the cons. And I'm really good at helping my clients do this. I don't know why I don't do it for myself, but and that might be too much information as well. But you guys are getting my point. Take your time before you just make an emotional decision to buy a house. And don't feel cornered like you have to buy something because it's not going to be here tomorrow. This rate is not going to be here tomorrow. This price is going to go up tomorrow. Don't do that either. Again, that's an emotional decision. You want to make the best decision for you, which means taking your time, making sure it makes sense for you. I always tell my clients the right house is there for you because especially during that COVID period, we were getting outbidded a lot. You'd be with a client, you might go through, 5 or 6 offers on different properties. And that can be emotionally draining for clients and who want to, of course, then just like give up. They feel like nothing is for them. But I always tell them what is for you is for you. And nobody's going to be able to outbid you. It's going to happen naturally and you're going to be so happy about it. Same thing applies, guys. Same thing applies. All right. The last and final tip that you should try to avoid when purchasing a house is not underestimating where the market is and how competitive it is. It's been up and down here recently. In my area, what I'm seeing is the county properties that are up for sale. So in the counties, not in the city. I'm seeing the county properties they are kind of flying off the market. But in the city, I'm seeing things sit a lot longer than what we're used to. So your realtor needs to know your area and how the market is and all these things so that you can be prepared for any type of competition that you're going to meet and how you're going to overcome that barrier if there is a competitive market, because you want to be able to cater directly to that seller. I always try to find out specifically as much information as I can find out about the seller and what their wants are, what they're looking to get primarily out of the sale of their home beyond just the highest dollar amount. Sometimes people are needing additional time to stay in the property after they've sold it. Or sometimes people are looking for someone who's not going to make major changes to their property. There are lots of different things that, people have in their minds about what they want to get out of selling their home. So I always try to find as much information out about that as possible so that my client and I can be very prepared if there is a competitive market, because we want to get our offer accepted so that my client can actually be a homeowner as well. So that's it, guys. I hope all of this information has been helpful. There are lots more things that you could probably potentially want to avoid, but these are the top 10. And I think if you stick to these things, you will have a successful home purchase and no regrets afterwards. All right, I'm signing off, guys. Have a good day. As always, if the information was helpful and you like the content, please click the like button. And if you want more content like this, please think about subscribing to my channel. I'm always interested in hearing some feedback. So if you have feedback about this particular video or there are additional topics that you might want me to discuss, please put them in the comments below. I do read the comments. And as always, if you need a realtor and you're in the Baltimore, Maryland area, holler at your girl. I'd love to help you. And even if you're not in the Baltimore, Maryland area, I do have a broad network of realtors that I work with across the United States, and I can always help you in that regard as well. All right, stay blessed.